Alright guys, this is the ELA assignment for February the 5th, and it's called Global Warming. If you haven't already done so, adjust your zoom to 100%. This makes it more readable as we read through this. Now you should have this slideshow up. If you want to just watch the read aloud because you can clearly see it on the screen if you're watching the video, that is fine. But keep the slideshow up so that when you're answering questions, you can refer back to your passage. So I have a window for it up here, and eventually I'll have a window for the questions up here so I can toggle back and forth when I'm answering the questions. Now, before I start reading, there are a couple things I want to point out. This is called global warming, and I know, and especially if we got some parents sitting around with you guys, working with you, this is a discussion that's up for debate. We have different opinions out there, different opinions among scientists, and that's okay. But in reading, what we are doing is we are analyzing the text. So one of the things that I mentioned to you guys at the beginning of the year, and you may have forgotten or it has slipped your mind, is that when we read passages, the questions are not gauging our understanding of the topic. It's gauging our understanding of the text. Okay? So even when a text is talking about something that's controversial, that means people don't agree about it. Even if the text is full of misinformation, what if the text says the sun is purple? That's clearly not true. Well, if it bothers you, off to the side in your test booklet, you could write a little comment that says, "This sun is not purple, it is yellow." But if you get a question that asks you, what color is the sun according to this passage, you are not supposed to pick yellow because the passage said it was purple. So again, the questions are designed to gauge our understanding of the text, not our understanding of the topic. The second thing I want to point out is that this passage has a text structure. But this is one of those ones where the overall text structure of the whole thing is not necessarily the text structure of each individual paragraph. And as I'm reading it, I'm going to talk about that so you can see what I mean. And that'll help when you're answering the question. So again, it'll be very obvious to me who is reading this while listening to the video, and for those who are skipping the video altogether. All right, so let's start. So it's called global warming. Global warming is the increase in the average temperature on the Earth. I feel like every time I start a video, that clock goes off. Scientific data shows that the climate's temperature is increasing. Changes in the climate have been tracked since the 1950s. 16 of the 17 warmest years recorded have occurred since the turn of the century. Most scientists agree that this change is due to the impact of humans on the environment. So right there, our author admits that not all scientists agree with this. But I think I can tell where the author stands on it. Humans have greatly impacted global warming through the emission of greenhouse gases. Greenhouse gases include carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. The increase of these gases has resulted in increases in the Earth's temperature. This, along with fossil fuel burning, deforestation, population growth, and other factors, has contributed to the problem. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that the overall text structure of this passage, keep in mind this is called global warming, and it's talking about a problem, right? Whether we agree with the problem, we agree that it's a problem or not, this passage is presenting a problem. And in this last paragraph, the author's going to suggest ways to fix it. So clearly this passage is overall problem and solution. But when we get into these individual paragraphs, you're going to notice that there are tons of signal words for a different text structure. And this is okay. A paragraph in a passage can be a different text structure than the overall text structure. The overall is problem and solution. But let's move on so you can see how individual paragraphs can have their own text structure. All right, climate change will differ at different locations around the world. It is expected that global warming will rise sea levels, which will then change precipitation. Now, that's a word we learned in science at the beginning of the year. It refers to water falling from clouds, right? That's precipitation. It could be rain, it could be snow, it can be hail, it can be sleet. Precipitation patterns. Deserts may expand. It is expected that temperatures will increase more over land than over oceans. Effects may be greatest in the Arctic. In the Arctic, climate change will cause glaciers and sea ice to melt. This is right here talking about cause and effect. Okay, so I mean the text structure of this paragraph is talking about it's cause and effect. All right, and then let's move on to this next paragraph. Global warming can also cause extreme weather. Heat waves, droughts, rain, floods, and snowfall will increase. Severe storms such as hurricanes, tornadoes, and tsunamis can increase due to global warming, due to something. That's saying it's the result of something. So again, this is a cause and effect paragraph. It's chock full of those signal words, and it is talking about how something is causing other things to happen. All right, let's move on. Oh, before I move on, I just managed to skip that whole diagram. All right, so this is a diagram. Remember, diagrams tell us how things work. And this is showing us 10 indicators. That's just a fancy word for signs. So 10 signs of a warming world. So things that we can notice and see that show that the world is warming up according to this passage. All right. Changing temperatures cause the Earth's plants and animals to be impacted. Impacted is just a fancy word for affected. Crops can be affected due to temperature changes, which impacts both humans and animals. Animal populations can be greatly impacted by climate change, and it may even cause some species to become extinct. For example, polar bears that live on melting ice caps and glaciers in the Arctic are losing their habitats. This is causing their population to decrease significantly and could eventually cause their extinction. So, this paragraph is clearly talking about how something is causing something else to happen. It's talking about the results of changing temperatures. So, this paragraph is cause and effect. Even though the passage itself is problem and solution, it's talking about a problem and it's going to give us ideas for fixing it. Each individual paragraph has its own structure as well. Most of the time, the paragraphs match the text structure of the whole passage. But it's really not uncommon for a problem and solution text to have paragraphs devoted to explaining the causes of the problems and the effects of the problems, and those paragraphs would be cause and effect. All right. Greenhouse gases will remain in the atmosphere for long periods of time. Effects from pollution today will still be evident in thousands of years. In order to reduce the effects of global warming, humans need to take immediate action and change their habits and behaviors. We need to reduce greenhouse emissions. We can do this by becoming more energy efficient and using renewable energy sources such as wind and solar energy. We can prevent deforestation by restoring and recreating forests that have been impacted by human deforestation. Decisions you make each day could impact our world for years to come. I would even argue that even though this paragraph is giving us solutions, it's really set up in a cause and effect text structure. It's really talking about how things are the result of something, and that how by taking actions, that's going to lead to certain results. So even though this paragraph is what gives us the proof that this is a problem and solution passage where a problem is being solved by these steps, I would say that this paragraph is actually coming across more as a cause and effect paragraph. All right, and then we have some pictures here of wind turbines. And then this one really went with this a paragraph with the ice caps melting, showing glaciers in the Arctic. All right, so we're going to move on to the questions next. That pop-up, that's like the second day in a row. I don't need blood pressure medication. Okay, so we're going to move on to the questions. All right, so this is the Google form with the questions about this passage, checking our understanding of the passage. The directions say, before completing these questions, you must read the passage Global Warming, which can be found in the attached Google slideshow. Embedded in this form is a video where I read the text aloud and have some discussion which will help you answer these questions. It will make your life easier to watch the video, and if you're hearing me read this, well, then you're watching the video. All right, number 1, what is the overall organizational text structure of this passage? I told you this earlier in the video. And so I put in parentheses, Ms. Brinson tells you in the video, so there's no reason you should get this wrong. So is the overall text structure of the whole entire passage sequential order, steps in the order you should do things, compare and contrast, 2 things talking about how they're alike and different, chronological order, events in time order that they happened, or problem and solution, where a problem is described and solutions are given. Number 2, which of the following contains a pair of signal words that we can use to prove the overall text structure of this passage? So, based on what we picked here, which of these contains signal words that show the text structure for number 1? Both and differ. Those would be signal words for compare and contrast. 16, 17, those are numbers, so those could be steps, sequential order. Problem and change. Problem obviously shows a problem. Change would be a solution to that problem, so problem and solution signal words. 1950s, years, those would be signal words for chronological order, things in time order. Dog is whining in the background. Wait. Yeah, number 3. What was the text structure of paragraph 5? That's the first paragraph on the second slide. All right, so paragraph 5 is the top of the second slide. This is the one that talks about changing temperatures cause the Earth's plants and animals to be impacted, which means affected. Crops can be affected due to, okay, so that's a result of temperature changes, which affects both humans and animals. Animal populations can be greatly impacted by climate change, and it may even cause some species to become extinct. For example, polar bears that live on melting ice caps and glaciers in the Arctic are losing their habitats. This is causing their population to decrease significantly and could eventually cause their extinction. It's chock full of signal words for which of these text structures compare and contrast. 2 or more things being talked about how they're alike and different. Problem and solution, presenting a problem and then giving us ideas for solving that problem in that paragraph. Cause and effect, talking about how certain things can result in other things. Chronological order, events in the order that they happen. Number 4, which best shows how humans will be affected by global warming? So this is not asking us how humans have caused global warming. This is talking about how global warming, assuming that it's true, and according to this passage it is, so global warming, what is it going to do to people? Humans have greatly impacted global warming by the emissions of greenhouse gases. Polar bears that live on melting ice caps and glaciers in the Arctic are losing their habitats. We can prevent deforestation by restoring and recreating forests that have been impacted by human deforestation. Crops can be affected due to temperature changes. So which of these will shows how we would be impacted, we would be affected by global warming? So something that's going to affect us. Number 5, the main idea of paragraph 6, which is the last paragraph, is people can take action to help slow the effects of global warming. Which of the following would be a supporting detail? So we know the main idea of the last paragraph. People can take action to help slow the effects of global warming. Which of these helps prove that point? Which of these helps get that point across? Which of these would you use as evidence to show that people can do stuff to slow down effects of global warming? Effects from pollution today will still be evident in thousands of years. Greenhouse gases will remain in the atmosphere for long periods of time. We can do this by becoming more energy efficient and using renewable energy sources such as wind and solar energy. This, along with fossil fuel burning, deforestation, population growth, and other factors, has contributed to the problem. So we got to have action by people. Okay, people can take action. People have to do something to slow down global warming. Number 6, which of the following best conveys the relationship between global warming / climate change and the Arctic? That is spelled wrong. There should be a C right there. I'll fix that. So we got to have a relationship shown accurately between the Arctic and global warming / climate change. In the Arctic, climate change will cause glaciers and sea ice to melt. I need to fix a lot in this question. Global warming can also cause extreme weather. Heat waves, droughts, rain, floods, and snowfall will increase. Changing temperatures cause the Earth's plants and animals to be impacted. We can prevent deforestation by restoring and recreating forests that have been impacted by human deforestation. So we're looking for the relationship between global warming / climate change and the Arctic. Number 7, according to Ms. Brinson in this video, if a passage says the sun is purple, you should still choose yellow as your answer to show the test makers you are an expert. You know all about the sun. Is that true or false? Number 8, according to Ms. Brinson in this video, the paragraphs in the passage must all be the same text structure. So this passage had 6 paragraphs. All of them have to be the same text structure, right? And it has to match the text structure of the overall passage, the entire passage. Is that true or false? And I think I made that clear at the beginning of the video when I talked about the overall text structure of the passage, and then I talked about the text structure of the paragraphs as we were reading them. All right, before you click submit, make sure you are comfortable and confident with your answers because there is only one submission allowed. When you are comfortable and confident, click that submit button and then go back into Google Classroom and mark it done. This is due by 11:59 tonight. Make sure you use the passage to help you answer the questions. The passage is there in the Google slideshow. You also have this video. And some of the questions ask you about stuff I mentioned in this video, so it's imperative that you watch the video. All right, if you need any help or assistance, you can reach out to me and I will be glad to help you. This is due by 11:59 tonight.